Welcome to the SciFi Pubcast. Come for a drink, but stay for the speculation. It's our Halloween episode, and it's scary. No, really, we're talking death and mortality here. Namely, what are the best deaths in science fiction? We're joined by our regular staff, Keri and Derek, and a customer named Randal Graham. Randal Graham, where do I know that name from? Meanwhile, Joel is again sick, this time with a head cold. And you can hear it in his voice, and he apologizes. So before you die, continue to listen, and by all means, grab a drink. You'll need it. This one is a bit sober. This is the SciFi Pubcast. This is ridiculous. Greetings! Welcome to the SciFi Pubcast, the podcast that tries to be a pub, and perhaps someday a pub that tries to be a podcast. I'm your, I don't know what you would call me.
Fearless leader?
Fearless leader.
Grandmaster.
Sure, Grandmaster. I know, a stonecutter, whatever. I'm Joel Welch. Yes, this is my fine establishment, at least in theory. And with me, we have a couple staff members, and we actually have a customer. But let's introduce our staff again. Derek.
Howdy ho.
Right. Derek Beebe, yes. Just let you know, Derek, I know this is our Halloween special. And as you can tell, I'm a bit sick. I've been having a head cold last couple of days. And I'm hop up on cold meds right now, which is probably a good thing. Will make me survive this episode. But I want to thank you for all the Halloween decorations you did around the pub.
Thanks. Those are actually legitimate cobwebs. I just stopped cleaning for a couple months.
Yeah, just the one thing is all those severed heads in front of the pub on spikes. You know, maybe just a wee bit too much.
Well,
except
I got
for
them
Jar
from
one.
the Korean deli for next to nothing, so.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. And we have Keri. How you doing, Keri?
I'm doing good.
What's new in your world?
Not much. I just got done with a dojo party last night, and I'm trying to polish off the leftover sake right now. So, if the Ewoks are a little more rowdy than usual, it's because I haven't been giving them very good direction.
Right, I love sake. This is my go-to drink when we're out. I'm out with a bunch of people, and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and we hit the Chinese restaurant and have boats of sushi. The good old times living in downtown Toronto. And yes, and we also have a customer. It's Randal Graham. Did I get your name right, Randal?
You did, sir.
It's almost like I knew you in a previous life.
Thanks so much for having me.
And it's Randal Graham, author of Before Life and Ultimate Geek Guy. And I mean that as a compliment.
Well, I had so much fun last week that I just had to come back and visit again.
And just to let you know, the way we're running this podcast is if you're free, we'll try to treat out our recording times ahead of time. And it's just drop in, drop out. And we'll try to stay on theme and talk about a topic. But anyone's welcome as long as they add something to the conversation. Either information or wit or just simply good manners.
And as long as they pay their bill.
Yeah, exactly. That too. This is a podcast where we have Derek Beebe on. Just keep that in mind. And of course, our topic today is death and mortality, otherwise known as the best deaths in science fiction. It's a Halloween special. Very creepy, because Halloween is about the spirits, about death, about ghosts, and all the great stuff that makes this time of year so awesome.
And we've got plenty of spirits for sale at the bar.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of them are, kinder than others. So, let's talk about death right now as a philosophical stance. Is there a good way to go out?
I'm not sure.
Well, if preferable, I'd go in my sleep, so I don't even know I'm dying.
Yeah,
There's
I'm all
none of
for dying in my sleep when I'm 90 on a morphine
Yeah.
drop. Yeah, that's definitely the way I'm going to hopefully go out.
I just hate the idea of death. Obviously, from the nature of my book, I'm obsessed with it, but it's because I've had massive death anxiety since the time I was a little kid. I hate the idea of missing out on stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
going to find out, mysteries that I've always wondered about, and I want access to that information.
I just want my flying cars.
I
wanna be able-
if I died before before the Star Wars trilogy ended, I would be pissed. Or before Game of Thrones ended. I need to know what happened with that.
Just
forget.
don't let George R.R. Martin be in charge of writing your biography then.
That's hardly a worry of mine.
Well, he'll kill you off quickly.
Maybe for some of my senpais out in Santa Fe, but not one of my worries.
Yeah, let's not worry about world peace or anything like that. Let's go with pop culture. Yeah, I'm all for that. Yeah. So fictional characters. We're talking about fictional characters as opposed to real people. And just let you know, because we're talking about the deaths of people in science fiction, there's probably going to be a spoiler or two. We'll try to stay on more dated stuff. So if there's anything really new out there, we'll try to dance around the topic. Is that cool with people?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Death and mortality, it makes you want to have a drink of scotch and contemplate why we're here, the meaning in life. Or you just say, oh my God, how am I going to die? It's going to be painful. And look at the causes of death in science fiction. You think of you get shot at, you can get spaced. What else can you do?
Parasites.
Drown, burn alive.
Insects.
Wear a red shirt.
Oh yeah, definitely.
or
Absolutely.
stormtrooper armor.
Flesh-eating bacteria. Acid
God.
blood.
Yeah. It's almost like I want to download my soul, if you can call it that, on some digital device, and then someone would lose a USB key. That's my luck. Yeah, so.
But would that be you anymore, Joel?
I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I mean, what is me? What is you?
In terms of science fiction death, that's actually a really important theme in Star Trek. The question now of whether every time you use the transporter, you die and a copy gets made.
There is a book that addresses. It's not really great. It's called Spock Must Die, and he basically gets copied by the transporter, and it's this big thing about which one of them has to get killed off. It's like I said, it's not a very good book. It's one of the older, I think it's from the 70s. It was interesting.
Well, yeah, the Will Riker, Thomas Riker storyline reveals that, because the transporter creates two copies. They're both essentially real, and you realize neither one of them was the original, right? Like the original was obliterated, and then the transporter formed two new copies. So you die every single time you go through the transporter. Similar theory about real life is every time you go to bed at night, the vision of us that is us is simply a product of our neurons firing. And that iteration of us dies when our brain becomes unconscious. And a new version of us with access to the same memories is generated in the morning when we wake up. Our personality, our soul, if you will, is created anew every time we wake up.
That's a
never
horrible
going to
thing
sleep
I've never
again.
heard before.
I've contemplated that, but I tried not to dwell on that too much because otherwise I'd never sleep.
It's one big video game, okay?
Yes.
I don't know.
Every morning, Ready Player One.
Yeah, just about. I just want to, improve my character in my video game because, I can do things much better. My life can be better, I think. But talking about Transporter and Star Trek, and first thing, let's start with the most gruesome, awful deaths in science fiction, as opposed to the noble deaths or the wannabe deaths or even funerals. So let's think of the best deaths, things that will gross you out, things that will say, oh my God, that's a horrible way to go. I feel so sorry for that guy.
What about any of the deaths by Alien exploding through the chest in the Alien series?
Oh, yes, Aliens, Ridley Scott. What do you think about that?
I I think I said this in our parody episode. The redux of that in Spaceballs freaked me out so much that I have never had any desire to actually see Alien.
Oh wow!
I sent you the YouTube clip. Most of the deaths we're talking about, I actually found YouTube clips.
Yes,
YouTube,
I know. I'm staying away from that one. Thank you.
The character is Kane. It's played by John Hurt, who just recently died, a year ago?
Yeah.
Amazing. And Alien 1979, that's almost 40 years ago, and just a great way, to highlight a horrible death.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to my best of my knowledge, crewman Kane did not eat at the SciFi Pubcast, just for the record.
That's good. Because we don't need any more lawsuits, Derek.
Hey, all those people are dead now, so they can't sue us, okay?
What about their relatives?
They don't know where they went for dinner.
Yeah, Derek, it's called a state law, man. Okay.
It's called GPS, man.
Okay. Hey, I want to return to Star Trek with the transponder. You guys are bigger. Yeah, thanks. Sorry. Hop up code medicine. So the very first motion picture. So I'm going back to Star Trek in the motion picture, 1979. Mm-hmm. There is a scene where you have two crewmen, and there's a malfunction in the transporter, so only part of them showed up at the other receiving location.
Yeah, that was kind of gruesome. So that was the science officer and one of the crewmen, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So, fun fact: in the novelization, that second person on the transporter pad was Kirk's ex-wife.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think about that.
Wasn't that movie rated G as well?
I'd have to dig it out. I think it's probably PG.
Yeah, it was definitely
a movie.
I mean, that was in the old days.
It's before the PG-13 rating came about. Although I think the rating systems are different in Canada, aren't they?
Not really. Was it? We have G, PG, AA, and then R, and then X. Mm. It's very similar. But Star Trek: The Motion Picture was definitely a creature film over the 1970s. Like everything about that just reeks of late 1970.
It was rated G. I was right.
Huh.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, that was back in the 70s. They were very cool with horrible violence. I think even brief nudity was okay.
Yeah, well, people were a lot cooler about a lot of things in the 70s.
Interesting. And of course, only 3 years later, you have Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan. And I love the air slugs. Who loves the air slugs?
Oh, I hated those.
As much as I like bugs, no. Keep them away from my ears. Thank you.
So if you recall, and I've done my research, the planet that Khan and his crew was stranded on was called Seti. Uh-huh. So it's known as Seti eels, is the air slugs.
Yeah.
So the idea is to you put the airs into victims, and then the victims become very susceptible to suggestions and directions and all that stuff, and eventually it leads to madness and death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you see that in the Wrath of Khan when you have Captain Clark Terrell, played by Paul Winfield, who went mad and killed himself with his own phaser. And you have Chekhov as well, who somehow managed to fight it off, and they get the eel out of his ear.
Didn't Kirk stop him from shooting himself?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was about to do it, and he wrestled the phaser away from him.
Well, yeah. Terrell was basically turning the phaser on himself to avoid having to kill anyone else, if I recall correctly.
That's right.
And do you guys remember how Paul Winfield died another time in Star Trek?
Yes.
Darmok?
Darmok and Galata Tanagra.
That was so sad.
When the wolves fell.
He was Captain Dathan. He was killed by the beast at Tanagra.
Oh, okay. And that was original series, or?
No, that was Next Generation.
Next
Picard and Dathan at Eladrel.
Okay, interesting.
But yeah, Paul Winfield was brilliant in that episode.
Oh yes.
Yeah. What is this with all the parasites? You know, you have the alien thing, you have the Wrath of Khan eel thing. You know, parasites. It's like does sci-fi characters they live in a jungle someplace? Is it all these life forms that likes to find pleasant places to live?
Well, I don't say anything mean about parasites. I'm a lawyer.
Yeah. So let's stay on Star Trek. Any other really interesting deaths in Star Trek?
There was Scotty's nephew in Wrath of Khan.
Oh yeah, that was sad. He got fried with radiation, or
yeah, he was in the engine room when it exploded, and it's weird because you don't really get that detail about that being Scotty's nephew unless you've seen the director's cut and or read the novelization of the movie. So apart
from that, there were absolutely no notable deaths in Wrath of Khan, right?
Absolutely none whatsoever.
Yeah. Spoiler alert! We're gonna mention someone. Okay.
I just remembered when they get to the research base and they find all those people skinned alive and strung up in the rafters.
Yeah,
that was pretty disturbing too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't steal this idea to decorate the bar, okay? So.
And of course, the big death in Wrath of Khan is Khan.
Oh, of course.
Death by explosion.
But that was a good death.
That was a good death.
It's quoting Moby Dick, right? Okay, say I'm sick right now. From hell's heart, I spit my last breath at thee. That's classic.
It is.
That's going on my tombstone.
Yes.
And you could set up a little automated spritzer in the tombstone that's motion activated, so if anybody gets close to it.
Nice.
I think that would probably cost too much, Derek, and you're cheap.
Okay.
Well, this is for Randall, who's a rich author, not me.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's see. Star Trek: The Next Generation. Was the aliens coming to visit you, Derek?
It sounded like a land speeder.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that was a motorcycle that went by my window.
I was going to Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Oh God.
Next episode, Derek, maybe. We're not talking about power conversion. We're talking about death.
So Next Generation good deaths. One that sat with me for a while was Ensign Sito. Do you remember the Lower Decks episode with the?
Yes. That's actually the next episode they're doing for Mission Log. So yeah, that one's coming back around for a revisit very very shortly.
I like the episodes where you have to deal with both the command consequences of death and the death actually being experienced.
The real life consequences of death. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
What did she die from?
She was sent off on. She was a Bajoran.
She was sent off on an undercover mission, right?
That's right, to accompany a Cardassian to help him get back into Cardassia. He was a double agent, or he was rather a spy for the Federation who was a Cardassian, and he was trying to get back into Cardassia. And they believed that he'd be able to pass through the border more easily if he had a Bajoran captive, and so she posed as that captive, and didn't get out of it alive.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened? You got to tell us what happened.
Well, we're not exactly sure. We just found that her the capsule in which she'd been traveling had been destroyed.
Oh.
And she had
previously
been in the earlier episode where Wesley and his friends at the Starfleet Academy did the Culvert Star maneuver, or Starboard maneuver.
Yeah, the First Duty.
Yeah, that's right, in First Duty. And so she had been held back in Starfleet Academy, and Picard wanted her to have a chance to sort of remake her reputation. So he gave her a spot on the Enterprise and then got her killed.
Yeah. Well, no good deed and all that.
Yeah, Picard was a bit of a jerk, wasn't he?
Only with kids.
Only with kids.
Okay, what's this with Tasha Yar? Because I remember watching Star Trek Next Generation, and I hated the character of Tasha Yar. I just couldn't stand her. I was maybe 15 years old at the time, and I was actually happy when she died. Now, being older, I don't really have a strong opinion anymore. So what happened with good old Tasha?
Well, they kept killing her. right? They killed her in one iteration. They killed her in another iteration.
And then we don't know what happened to her daughter, really.
Yeah, the first time she died.
Is that Sela, the Romulan?
Yeah.
The first time she died, the point of it was that it was a meaningless death, and that she died with like just standing around, not particularly doing anything, as a show of Armis's power.
Right, that's the Black Tower creature?
That's right.
Yeah, so the episode is Skin of Evil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I saw that. It was kind of, okay, she died. No, she wasn't even wearing a red shirt, which is odd, but yeah.
Well, by next gen, the red shirts have become gold shirts, so it actually does fit.
All right.
Yeah, I was nervous for the next generation when all the command officers came out wearing red shirts. I thought this is not going to go well.
No.
But yeah, Tasha Yar, I wasn't particularly attached to her when she was first brought in. They had some weird instances of flirtation between her and Captain Picard, which never really seemed to work. Remember when Q placed her in a penalty box and Captain Picard was sort of talking her out of crying, and she made some reference to, well, if you weren't my captain, and it was clear that there was some flirtation going on. It was an awkward character they didn't know how to use.
There were weird flirtations between her and Picard. There were weird flirtations between her and Worf.
And Data.
And then let's not go with the Data thing. Let's not go there.
Yeah, that's a bit more than flirtation.
That never happened.
She uploaded some data.
Ouch.
And that's why we're a bar. Okay, good. Okay. Oh, speaking of which, you can swear, guys. Remember this is not rated, G on Apple iTunes. So, yeah. Deaths. What others there?
Well, it's not brutal, but it's emotionally brutal. Picard, the Inner Light, when it turns out that civilization he spent his life with already died in a supernova years ago.
Yeah, that's
a beautiful episode.
It was very nice. And Tapestry, when Picard thought he had died and had to spend his afterlife with Q, which was a bit torturous.
Oh, and Deep Space Nine, The Visitor, when old Jake dies so that he can send his father back in time to live.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a cool episode. My favorite fake death in The Next Generation is when Counselor Troy is trying to get her command officer exam completed and has to learn that she needs to order Geordi to his death in the engineering simulation. Yeah. I thought that was great, like just talking about the consequences of command where you might actually have to order one of your friends to die in order to save everyone else.
Well, and also going back to Wrath of Khan, all the fake deaths at the very beginning of the movie when they're doing when Savik's doing the Kobayashi Maru.
Oh, that was a fun scene.
You've killed your entire main cast in like the first 10 minutes.
Think of what they could have saved in the budget had those deaths been real.
But then we wouldn't have 4 other movies.
I know.
There actually was one point in the script where Spock was going to die in the opening scene of the movie because they weren't sure how much involvement Nimoy wanted to have. So that was kind of a in-joke to that. And also a misdirect.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
So while we're on Star Trek, my absolute favorite death in terms of the most moving death for me in all of the Star Trek universe is probably George Kirk at the beginning of the reboot.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's moving, but it's all. I also find it kind of annoying because, so in the Kelvin timeline, George Kirk dies, and suddenly Kirk is a bit more of an ass than he was in the original timeline. Like, he gets better, but yeah, the first couple of movies, he's just kind of like, really?
Because his daddy died.
Yeah, I didn't find that. I loved that death. The way it was shown on screen, the musical accompaniment to it.
Yeah.
The fact how well it was timed with Kirk's birth. I just thought J.J. Abrams did a magnificent job with that. I thought, like, obviously it was obvious playing on the heartstrings, but boy, I was a sucker for that. It really hit me.
Plus, it was Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Thor is Kirk's dad. Mind blown.
I'm so confused. I need a drink.
Yeah.
Don't mix it with cough medicine.
Yeah, don't. Yeah.
Did you guys hear that the planned 4th Kelvin movie is about Kirk going back in time to meet his father?
I've heard rumors of that, but they've also haven't really talked much about where they're going with that right now. And plus, JJ's kind of busy with the other franchise at the moment.
Well, he didn't do Beyond either.
But I think he was a producer on that.
Oh, it doesn't. Production is, you
True.
decide your level of involvement, to quote
True.
Tyler Durden.
True.
So where do you guys stand on the death of Jennifer Sisko in DS9? That one ripped my face off.
Oh,
I thought she was a very
hard.
bad actress, so it didn't do much for me.
Both,
We didn't know that yet when we saw her die, though. We learned that later in flashbacks.
Both times she died, that was hard.
Well, I thought that the acting by Avery Brooks, Ben Sisko, in that episode, like he just completely broke down watching his wife as they had to abandon her body before the ship blew up. And I mean, I'm married. I have a sense of how that would feel. And I saw it again recently. I started rewatching DS9 about 2 weeks ago. And that scene just kills me every time.
I can imagine. But yeah, then when she comes back and dies in the Mirror Universe, that's just like, oh.
Yep.
Again. We're going to rip our hearts out again. That's fine.
We need a comedy soundtrack to this episode.
Yeah, I think we should take. Let's pause for a second or two just to reflect on the deaths of all these Star Trek folks.
Moment of
because
silence.
that's important. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, moving on.
I'll tell you a DS9 death that did affect me more when Enabran Tain died in the Jem'Hadar imprisonment camp. I thought that was a really beautiful scene between him and Garrick,
Yeah.
where he's like,
I
"You're
like
not
that.
my son," and he's saying, "Father, for once in your life, speak the truth." And then he talks about that the one time he took him horseback riding or something, and he said, "I was very proud of you that day." And I think he dies at that point.
Yeah, it was the only day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great scene. I had forgotten about that when I was making up my little list here of moving deaths.
I started to do my list last week, and I added some names and some films onto the list last night. And it's opening up a can of worms. There are so many great deaths out there in science fiction. This can be a 4-hour episode quite easily.
We could do an entire episode on how many times they've killed Daniel Jackson on Stargate.
Yes. Listen, we can kill people through podcasting, right? Listen to this podcast for 18 hours, and it will probably kill you.
Let's not do that. I don't want to be held responsible for that kind of torture.
Not an admission.
No, I'm sure.
No, I have a death here that I didn't have on my original list that I think will resonate with Derek, and that is Kosh number 1.
Yes, definitely.
The first Kosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one was hard.
Especially when he appears to Sheridan as his father in the dream.
Yeah.
Well, as
Rance Howard playing the part of Sheridan's dad did a terrific job.
Yeah, so we're talking about Babylon 5 right now.
Absolutely.
And also because Green Kosh was so awesome, and he got replaced by Purple Kosh, who was an asshole.
Green Kosh, he was more of in his encounter suit was more orange.
He was like green orange, but the Purple Kosh was like
Olkesh.
Yeah. He was mean.
He was more representative of what the Vorlons were like. Kosh was the cool one.
It was a great death in that Kosh knew it was coming and sort of predicted it and said, if I do this, I won't be here to help you later. And Sheridan took that as a threat rather than a prediction of his own death. And then he just went ahead and let himself die. And the idea that was the first of the first ones to die in Millennia was such a neat, impactful moment in that series.
Right. Well, I mean, if we want to talk Babylon 5, then the obvious ones are both of the times Sheridan died.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Sheridan, and I thought he was a big improvement over Sinclair, although I love the Sinclair arc. But Sheridan's death, if you go to if you go to Zahadum, you will die, was a great original death.
Mm-hmm. And then the finale, I start bawling about halfway through the finale never every time. It's just it kills me. Like, but from the time he leaves Delenn until the end of the episode, I just am destroyed.
Yeah, it's a real tearjerker.
Well, plus I can't even watch the decommissioning scene at the beginning of the Lost episodes because that just kills me. The decommissioning of the battle of Babylon 5 itself is just heartbreaking.
It's like the death of the station.
Yeah.
Did they break up the station like in our world when they break up ships and scrap them?
Yes.
Do we want to spoil the? Never mind, we spoiled it.
No.
It's been 20 years. I think we can spoil.
I know, but a lot of people haven't experienced it yet.
Yeah.
It's a bar. Things happen.
Well, we need to up the tone here. What about deaths that made people happy? I know.
Oh, right.
Joel
Jar
loving
Jar.
Tasha.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, Jar Jar is a death.
Jar Jar isn't dead, guys.
There's a few.
None I can think of in sci-fi, but
not in real life. Don't go there.
No, not in real life. Not in real life. But I'm thinking about all the people in Game of Thrones that I've been wanting to see die and have finally gotten taken out. Joffrey.
Don't tell me you have a list, Keri. Okay.
I've forgotten his name, but the
I'm
Klingon
not going to
character.
say who it is because it's for things that haven't happened yet in the TV show. But in Expanse Book 6, when a certain villainous character died, I was very happy. But I'm not going to say who it was because that would be a spoiler. For the TV.
Yes.
Yeah, because I haven't gotten there yet. So stop right now.
Yeah, listen, talking about the Expanse, and I think we're all huge Expanse fans. Randall, do you know the Expanse?
I do not.
It's on Space Channel in Canada, and it's based off of several books, and it's really good. It's been going since 2015. They've done 2 seasons. They're going to be doing a 3rd season. It's filmed in Toronto. It's high-end sci-fi.
Yeah, everyone keeps telling me that I need to watch this. I just haven't made the time yet.
Make the time. Seriously, make the time.
Because it basically is our world fast forward by 400 years.
200.
Where 200, yeah, something feels like 400. Yeah, but 200 years. Whatever. It's
400 Canadian years.
You forgot the conversion rate.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Metric and Pearl, right? No, it's an extra. My speech impediment and my code's coming out. It's thinking about extrapolating what's happening now in terms of technology and how we treat each other, into the future, and then add space travel.
It's a future where everyone is really, really nasty to each other.
Kind of like now.
Yeah.
But when space gets involved, you have problems like air shortages and water shortages on top of everything else.
Yeah, it's like being in the International Space Station, and you have a breach of the hull, and you have shrapnel coming through, and because it's going so fast, and if it's it can decapitate you. It's this type of realism.
Wow, sounds good.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Good. What else?
So happy deaths. The one that occurred to me that I really enjoyed this death because the character bugged me so much was Commander Krug, the Klingon played by Christopher Lloyd.
Yes.
Oh, really?
I have had enough of you.
He killed his son.
Yes. That was a great death. I enjoyed that one.
Well, let's get back to Babylon 5 then. And when Morden finally got killed, I stood up and cheered.
Oh, and Veer waving at his head on the spike.
Veer finally got to fulfill his promise. That wave is just it's perfect. I love it.
Yeah, that is a great scene. Good one.
Yeah, I like Count Dooku in Star Wars and Revenge of the Sith.
Oh,
that was a great death.
That death was crazy. I mean, the character bugged me, and his death was so lame. But yeah, I can see it having a certain satisfaction.
Yeah, that pretentious prick. I love it.
What about Obi-Wan's death?
I wasn't happy he died.
No, I wasn't either.
No, but that was a good death.
Does that even count as a death? I mean, he got beamed by a lightsaber and came back as a Force ghost.
Well, I mean, he's technically dead at that point, so yeah, it was a death.
Well, if that's death, then I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I've told people in my dojo that if they kill me on the mat, I'm going to come back and haunt their ass.
You have to
Just their
meditate
ass?
with the wills for decades to get that power, though.
And that's a very specific place to haunt. Their ass.
I think you would be the one haunted in that case.
Yeah, that would probably be a bad thing.
How do we feel about the death of Darth Maul?
Oh, that was such a
Frustrated.
waste.
He should have been in all 3 movies.
Yeah,
Are we talking about the Phantom Menace when he quote unquote died, or in Rebels when he finally died?
No, just the movie death I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. See, Rena, I don't think you're up to speed on Rebels or the comic books right now.
I'm not.
But let's just say it was awesome. Okay. But in terms of Phantom Menace,
better.
yeah, I really enjoyed that fight scene. I think that's the best fight scene in the Star Wars genre, I want to call it, the film. It's like all the films. That one scene between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Thanks. I know. I can't breathe through my nose. Okay.
And the music that accompanied it too, the Duel of the Fates, was brilliant.
Oh yeah.
It's a real shame that they killed him because he was such a cultural phenomenon in the lead up to the movie. Everybody thought this was the new Darth Vader. This was the new face of evil. And then he has like 2 lines, 1 brief fight, and gets cut in half. It was a real disappointment.
Well, they basically had a stunt. They basically cast a stuntman to play him, so it wasn't like there was necessarily going to be a lot of acting range there. Just a guy who could pull off the moves they needed him to do.
Right.
Did you know that Benicio del Toro was originally cast as Darth Maul, but after they cut so much of his dialogue, he quit?
Oh wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, and then he came back as DJ in The Last Jedi.
I had no idea.
But this is why you have to watch the Clone Wars and Rebels, because Darth Maul gets so much better after he gets cut in half.
Yeah, he gets robot legs.
Yes.
Oh wow.
But
First
what's
he
expense first?
First he gets spider robot legs, and then he gets actual robot legs.
Yeah, let's take a moment to drink and contemplate our lives. Okay.
So, were we made happy or were we not made happy by the death of Palpatine?
Yes, I think falling down a elevator shaft in a half-built Death Star. Yeah, ouch.
That was justice.
I did think it was way too easy a death for the ultimate Sithari evil, though. But
it was something he didn't expect.
Yeah, I know, but still, I prefer that in the comic books he was prepared for it and came back in a clone body and almost destroyed the New Republic.
Oh, you mean Dark Empire?
Yeah.
Nah.
Because to me, that just makes more sense. If this guy could see the future and was all powerful, how did he die just by getting thrown down a mine shaft? Why didn't he do like a force push to knock himself safely? Because Luke fell down an air shaft in Empire Strikes Back, and he was fine.
Well, maybe Palpatine's shaft didn't have a convenient bend.
Maybe.
Well, I think the in-universe excuse was that he was electrocuted by his own lightning, so he wasn't able to, focus his powers enough to do anything to save himself.
And since it was Anakin Skywalker who killed him, and who was theoretically more powerful in the Force than him, I think it's possible that he couldn't foresee that outcome.
Yeah, his arrogance, as Luke said, his arrogance was his undoing in that point, because he couldn't conceive of an idea of the concept that Vader would turn on him.
And of course,
it's funny they say that, because all throughout the comic books and the novels, both pre-Disney and post-Disney, they always showed Vader scheming against Palpatine and Palpatine knowing about it. So him kind of blindly trusting him when faced with his own son, I don't know. If you take all the additional material into account, it doesn't work as well.
Yeah, that makes.
And of course, his death was followed immediately by the death of Anakin himself, which I thought that was really well handled.
Yeah. It's interesting because you have Sheev Palpatine, or Darth Sidious, right? He literally fell from power. That was his death. Whereas Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, he sacrificed himself, so he didn't fall. There was not the same type of symbolism involved.
Well, yeah, it was death by redemption, which was a really interesting idea.
Yeah.
I think he just lost the will to live.
Oh, God.
I thought his battery ran out.
Dear.
Yes.
But no, I get what you're saying, Derek, about the clones. It just became. I think they used that a bit too much in the comics when they figured out that they could do that. So that's as much as I love Dark Empire and Dark Empire 2, that just kind of got old.
Well, that raises a really interesting point, actually, when you think about that. In science fiction, is death too impermanent? Right? Like every time someone dies, we're aware of the fact that, well, maybe they landed on the Genesis planet and got better. Maybe they were regenerated. Maybe they transported themselves into a clone, so that we don't actually feel the death in the way we would if we were, watching something that was from a realist tradition rather than science fiction. Death doesn't have the feeling of permanence because you can always, retcon the story and bring the person back if you want more of them.
Right.
Yeah,
That could be true of any fantastical drama, though. Like even a soap opera, people die all the time and come back. So anything that's playing loose and fast with the rules of reality, you could have an unbelievable return from death.
Yeah, I think No, go ahead, Randall.
I see your Emperor Palpatine and raise you Bobby Ewing is what I just heard there.
Well, I think the general rule is if you have to make sure there's a body. And even then, there's still room for things to get better.
Well, yeah, Spock, they fired his body out a torpedo shaft and a torpedo tube, and he got better.
True. But
those bagpipes playing in the background.
and plus, that was David Marcus's bad science that screwed up the planet. If David hadn't screwed up and taken shortcuts to finish the Genesis project, Spock could have just laid there for all eternity, or until Kirk went and got his body so they could transfer his Katra out of
It's interesting. I think Reynolds has hit on something there. Mortality in science fiction. Can you have tragedy like you can do it in other genres? Because, so you have a planet that gets blown up. That's tragic. But if it's a main character which you are invested in and the main character dies, is it fatal? That's an interesting observation.
It depends a lot on who's writing, who's directing, and how their fans respond. Like the tragic deaths for me are often the smaller characters, the side characters whose deaths are there to play on your heartstrings. The one that's coming to mind right now that I sent in on my list was Lieutenant Duala from Battlestar Galactica. Right. Like you don't see a lot of suicides in science fiction that are just out of complete despondency of the character at the thought of a whole dystopian future. And Lieutenant Duala, there was a finality about her death that you just knew, okay, she's not coming back from this. Like any time that in other stories, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer gets killed, she's coming back next episode. Her name is in the title. But when you have a side character like Lieutenant Duala dying off, who wasn't the core element of any plot, isn't in the name of the show, isn't a marquee character, I think then you have the capacity for real tragedy and sadness. We don't see a lot of main characters getting killed off with the fear that they won't come back in the future.
Well, I would say Wash.
That's your point?
That's my point. Right through the heart.
Sorry.
And the collective gasp in the theater when that happened.
This is Serenity.
Randall, have you seen Firefly?
I have not.
You just spoiled him.
That's okay.
Nah. Yeah, it's only been out for how many years?
That's right. Yeah, no. Again, that's another one that everyone has told me that I have to watch, and I just haven't made time for it. Another tragic one. What about Tara in Buffy?
Oh, that hurt. That hurt so much.
That one killed a lot of people, like just emotionally. And I don't know if you noticed this, but this is what tipped me off that she was probably going to die. That was the first episode where Joss Whedon listed her in the main cast and not, guest starring.
Oh.
And, yeah, it's her first real episode as a member of the main cast, and she get killed. Thanks, Joss.
Thanks,
also,
Joss.
I think they were happy together for a brief moment, and that's a death sentence in Joss Whedon shows.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Joss and relationships are, well, I could list several, and we know they don't turn out well.
You know what broke my heart is when Bill Murray died in Zombieland.
I haven't
Bill
seen
Murray
Zombieland.
playing Bill Murray. Yeah, he as a joke he dressed as a zombie during a zombie apocalypse, right? And so someone mistook him for a zombie and shot him. It was so tragic.
Sounds like that's kind of his own fault. Do you really want to be dressing as a zombie when people are going around shooting zombies?
What can you do, man? It's like some people just can't take pranks anymore.
Yeah.
Now, I pride myself on being a person who follows the plot, who pays attention to what's going on in these shows. But as you know from the list I sent you guys, the most confusing death in science fiction history for me is Kara Thrace in Battlestar Galactica.
I have not actually seen the new Battlestar Galactica, so I can't speak on this one.
Yeah, if I remember right, what happened? She crashed and burned her fighter, and then she came back like a prophet or something like that.
Well, the theory you see spouted most frequently on the internet is that she was actually an angel sent by God to guide them back to their new planet.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But again, that's a theory, and it's pretty far out there in terms of the actual nature of the universe as it's depicted in Battlestar Galactica. You don't have a lot of intervention by God types.
Well, I think the ending of the story pretty much definitively said that that's what it was. I don't really see how you could interpret it any other way.
It just didn't fit well with the overall theme of the show, though, I felt.
Yeah, but for the entire series, Mental 6 was talking about God having a plan for Baltar.
Yeah, but she seemed like a crazy person rather than someone who was actually, giving any sort of truth to the story.
But there was nothing in his head. She was not coming from a piece of technology.
Yeah, no, it still doesn't work for me.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not the person to speak on this. My best friend probably would be better with this, but I know for a fact that she hasn't seen the new Battlestar Galactica either. But there could be some residual LDS connotations. They're coming for you, Derek. There could be some residual Mormon mythology there that was at work.
I thought the Mormons were bleeping you out there while you were speaking.
Yeah, because I know the original Battlestar Galactica was heavy Mormon themes in it.
That's interesting. I wasn't aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knew there was some religious stuff going on in Battlestar Galactica, the reimage one. Because you have all the religious, symbology and artifacts and all that, very much in line with 2001. You have these artifacts that are done by people who became before us, and it furthers the plot and points people in the right direction when they're in need.
And the whole story of an exodus of people journeying towards the promised land and the prophet and leader dying on the way there. That's Joseph Smith on the way to Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Or as I call it, Salt Lake City.
Oh, God.
That was a Book of Mormon reference for the unaware.
I thought you were just doing Jar Jar.
Oh, wow. Okay. Moving on.
Actually, the theme of this whole episode is, you see people gonna die?
Yeah, just spend more time in pubs. You can get through life better. Okay. Hey.
Well, at least you'll die happy of liver poisoning.
Yeah, exactly. Boba Fett.
Oh, lame.
He's alive.
Oh, come on. It's great.
He's not dead. He's going to get better.
Canon. He's alive.
He's going to get better.
Wait. So if he did die, okay, I have the quote up. So C-3PO says to Han Solo, "You will therefore be taken to the Dune Sea and cast into the pit of Cocoon, the nesting place of the all-powerful Sarlacc." And Han Solo responds, "Doesn't sound so bad." And C-3PO says, "In his belly, you will find a new definition of pain and suffering, as you are slowly digested over 1,000 years."
Now, does it keep you alive for 1,000 years instead of dying after a few days with no food or water or oxygen?
Well, yeah, I assume that it feeds you as it eats you.
There's at least, I think, I don't know if it's Tales from Jabba's Palace or Tales of the Bounty Hunters that has, there's this, symbiotic relationship between the person who got eaten and the Sarlacc. But that it sounds pretty far-fetched, but hey, this is, sci-fi we're talking here. So, maybe. But I figure that if the Sarlacc swallowed Boba Fett alive, and if we've learned anything from the most recent episode of Rebels, is that the Mandalorian armor can withstand almost anything. If Boba Fett managed to survive long enough to get to a place where he could, blast his way out from within, I think he would probably do it. Because he's just that cool.
Yeah.
He's too stubborn to die.
But there's something you said of, in deaths, right? You have these, for this one, you have Boba Fett, he dies so quickly and so stupidly, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of deaths are like that in real life.
Well, and that's the thing about science fiction is it's ruled by the law of Tinkerbell, right? If the audience claps hard enough, they come back to life.
Yeah.
And the audience loved Boba Fett. He had cool armor. He was the cool bounty hunter who saw through Han Solo's trickery to get away from the Empire. And as a result, fans were up in arms over his death, just like Darth Maul, apparently. And because we love him, he comes back.
Depending on who's writing the story, yes.
Yeah,
that's
whereas
right.
I think they've done studies of pilots who crashing their planes in accidents, and the number one word they say before they die is "oh shit."
Yeah, I've always worried that my last words would be "oops."
Well, if it's good enough for Data when they're crashing the Enterprise, it's good enough for a test pilot, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Data. What happened to Data?
Oh yeah, he
that's
blew up,
one.
didn't he?
That's right. I did find that last night. That was Nemesis, right? Star Trek Nemesis.
Yeah, that made me sad.
It made me very sad. But it's kind of understandable, at least, from the standpoint of we have the one character who's supposedly never going to age, and, Brent Spiner's not an android, unfortunately, so...
Silver makeup hides a lot of wrinkles.
It does, but you can only do that for so long.
What about other smaller films or films that are not huge, like right now? I'm thinking about Flash Gordon, 1980. Remember that film?
I haven't seen that film, so...
Oh, it's great, and it still creeped me up. I was 6 years old, and there's a part where there are some wood tribesmen, futuristic woods tribesmen, right? And Flash Gordon's there, and they're initiating a new tribes person, and you have this tree or branch thing, and where there's a green scorpion wood beast that lives inside of it. So the initiation rite is you have to stick your hand for so long into this tree thing, and if you get bitten by the green scorpion wood beast, you die in extreme pain and agony. And so that's how the tribans actually get into the tribe.
It's kind of like the box of pain.
So if they survive, they get in?
Yeah, so kind of like if you last for 20 seconds. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It still creeps me out because it was a scary scene as a child, right? And this is 1980.
I agree with you on that. But, that is. I don't think I would want to try and even get into this tribe.
Yeah, I think
that's
you're in the
too
tribe.
Much pressure.
I think it's you becoming a warrior. It's a passage of adulthood, that type of thing, if I remember right.
All right. Well, we go back to stupid deaths. There's Ramirez and Highlander.
Oh yes.
Oh gosh.
That was just Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he probably had too much to drink that night. So
Possibly, yes.
Has anyone ever been affected by a death of the Doctor?
All of them.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
Any standouts?
Well, 10, obviously.
I think for me, the Tom Baker death was especially sad because he was my doctor as a kid, and it was a very kind of sad and slow and dark episode, and he was being watched by the ghost of his future self the whole time, and they had that montage of his enemies and his allies, calling out his name as he's dying, and he says, "I'm dying, but the moment has been prepared for." And he reaches out his hand, and the future ghost touches him, and he kind of like fades away.
Yeah. Well, and the first Doctor's death was kind of, that paved the way for all of the regenerations afterwards. But that was actually when I finally saw that was just like, okay, this is good. This is sad. And
yeah, the 10th Doctor killed me largely because of his relationship with Rose.
Yeah.
That, for me, was the most moving Doctor death.
Yeah.
I loved Tennant, but I wasn't really a fan of his final episode, so it didn't affect me a great deal. I thought Matt Smith had a better final episode with him, living for, 1,000 years on the same planet, protecting it the whole time, growing old, becoming weak and frail. And then, at the moment of his death, the Time Lords finally making themselves known and giving him the gift of life again. I don't remember his speech anymore, but I remember it being very moving and beautiful. And while Capaldi hasn't officially died yet, we basically already got him dying. And his season finale scene was very well done, especially when he gives that speech to Missy and the Master, talking about, help them because it's kind, not because you get any kind of reward for it. I thought that was really a beautiful statement.
Well, speaking of Missy, but that death is kind of on my radar right now because that was kind of hard to watch. I was really hoping she would, at least survive long enough to, do some kind of turnaround in her personality. Although I'm working on this theory that I think she's lying to the Master, and she may have been the previous incarnation, which would be kind of cool, but
previous
also get rid
to him.
Yeah. And it would be kind of cool, but it would also get rid of the Master entirely. So maybe that's not the best idea in the world. But
I mean, obviously they'll never get rid of the Master.
Obviously not.
He'll always come back one way or another.
Although I'm really hoping that they'll bring back the Rani or one of the other Time Lords at some point, like Romana.
Yeah.
Susan can regenerate. Although Susan's the girl who played Susan's still alive, so they could bring her back, in theory.
Welcome to the intermission of the SciFi Pubcast. Please pause because right now the conversation's kind of sad and down in the dumps. So listen to some music from Logan Rathbone from 10 years ago to pump you back up again. The conversation will start again shortly.
Share
I hate to keep being the one who throws new ideas into the hopper, but a death that just popped into my head a moment ago was the T-800 in Terminator 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That is a good one.
Yes.
Thumbs up, Randall.
Nice. Perfect.
Okay, so this is the one. It was the liquefied Terminator, right? So
Yeah, he has to go into the liquid fire to burn away.
To make
It's
sure
not
his
liquid
CPU
fire,
gets-
it's liquid metal.
Yeah. To make sure that his CPU can't get used in the future.
Yeah. That was hard.
Yeah, the idea of knowing that you're going to your death and sacrificing yourself. Again, less meaningful in sci-fi where you can always come back, but still, in the context of the movie, it actually felt like a real sacrifice at the time.
Yeah. Especially
Even
when he
though
was
he was emotionless.
Yeah, but he was starting to understand humanity and emotion. So that made it especially hard.
Affirmative.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like an Alien 3 with Ripley committing suicide by jumping into the vat of liquid metal so that they can kill the queen alien that's in her stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's doing the Jesus Christ pose on the way down.
And then she has to wrestle with it on the way down. Stay in there, you little...
Yeah, that's a bad day, right? So,
Yeah.
oh God, that's
Yeah.
definitely a bad day. Yeah.
Very bad day.
Yeah. And again, it's another Alien movie, Ridley Scott. In this case, it's what's his name, Fincher. So,
Yeah.
how about? Okay, this is going to go over most of your heads. There was do you know who David Cronenberg is?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So he's a Canadian director from Toronto. He's been around forever, and he specialized in horror for most of the 70s, 80s, 90s. And there was one movie called Scanners that came out, I think, in 1980.
I vaguely
1980.
remember hearing of it, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
1981. I was wrong. And it starred people like Michael Ironside. So it's an idea of using your brain through telekinesis to actually, control and kill people. And I do yourself a favor. Put in YouTube Scanners and see the death scene. Because it's classic how some guy head gets exploded, in just the props of the day. It's just classic sci-fi early 1980s.
Okay.
Scanners.
It's very reminiscent, if I recall, of the deaths of all the Nazis at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, that's right. So
They had explosions.
Yeah.
The melting.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. We forgot the face melting in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Or in Last Crusade, when Donovan decomposes in front of his eyes while holding the blonde girl, and she's like, ah! And he's like, ugh.
That's the best acting I've heard on this podcast.
Oh God.
And he's like, ah, and she's like, "Arr."
What's the name of the Nazi fellow who melts in Raiders of the Lost Ark? What's his name?
I think his name is like Totemkopf. He was never named in the dialogue of the movie, but I think from the script it's something weird sounding like Totenkopf.
I thought it was Meltenheimer.
Yeah. Toht. Yeah, Toht. T-O-H-T.
Yeah, because that doesn't mean death or anything.
Yeah.
It actually does.
You know, I've heard on other podcasts, you can actually buy candles of his face. So you light the candle and it slowly burns his face off.
Nice.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
God, I want one of these candles. See, that's something you need to buy, Derek, okay, to spice up this bar for Halloween.
Definitely.
Okay.
Oh, I just saw the Scanner's head explosion. I never saw that movie before.
Yeah.
It's been parodied so many times, though, I feel like I've already seen that scene.
Hey, have you guys seen Creepshow?
No.
I think
So
I did, but I don't remember it.
So it's George Romero, again, my code. George Romero, it's from 1982, and there's a series of different shorts. Stephen King wrote most of it, and he actually starred in one of the shorts called The Lonesome Death of Jody Verrill.
Uh-huh.
And you can, again, this is a type of thing you can search on YouTube and you can see what I mean. Because I think there's like a 10-minute clip on it. And basically, you have this hillbilly guy in the middle of nowhere, and there's a meteorite that crashes into Earth. And he goes and he looks at this meteor. Oh, this is really neat. And there's some green goo on it. So he touches it by mistake. And then over the series of several days, this green goo kind of grows grass on everything, on his house, on his hands, on his head, on his body, to the point where he's just walking grass, in a bush basically. And so the story ends with him grabbing a shotgun and blowing his head off. But you see this grass continues to grow and grow and grow.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. This stuff grows on you for a bit. So
nice.
Is that the origin of using The Lonesome Death of blank blank as a title? Because I see that all the time in fiction now.
I think that's more of a Western thing, but I don't know. That's a good question. How about insects? You get Starship Troopers, and you have King Kong. Lots of people died because of insects in both of these.
I've seen bits and pieces of Starship Troopers. I haven't seen either of the last two King Kong movies.
Yeah, the one, the Peter Jackson version, the 2005.
I have a feeling that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's a great. It's called an insect pit scene, and it's so creepy. Like bugs kind of bug me, so I don't actually like seeing it. It's like watching. Spiders in the Lord of the Rings, right? It's like, oh no, thank you. So
it's kind of like the scene in Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom when all the disgusting bugs are crawling over what's her face. Only they're the size of a human and they eat you. And it was actually a cut scene from the 1933 original. They cut it from the release because it was deemed to be too disturbing for viewers. So Peter Jackson redid it writ large. And the one that's most disturbing for me, it's kind of like this massive worm, and it's like the mouth comes out of like a sheath or a foreskin, if you will, and the inner part of it kind of extends out from there and then grabs onto your head with its teeth and kind of slowly swallows you whole, sucking you back into it.
Well, I'm not seeing this anytime soon.
Just by comparing it to a foreskin, you've ruined my whole life.
this is the start of a graphic novel. Great.
Yeah, a little too graphic. Yeah. So on happier topics, what about the death of all the younglings?
Oh yes.
You mean in Attack of the Clones?
Yeah, right.
No, Derek. Wrong movie.
Well, now that's just fake news. Come on, Randall. That didn't happen.
Yeah, I liked that scene. I mean, when Anakin shows up, I didn't like that movie a lot, I will admit. I have seen it a couple of times. But when Anakin shows up and, the lightsaber flares on and you see the little jolt of surprise in the kids and you're like, oh my God, they're all going to die.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do? And then Anakin just looks down on him and says, Bzzz.
Yeah.
See, but it's a breach of trust, right? And that's what makes the deaths so powerful. And the fact that they're children, right?
Yeah.
And they're walking around with their heads right now. So.
And there's a great Robot Chicken sketch showing that within Anakin's head, he was dancing through the field of grass with Padme, like swinging his arms around, while in reality, he's like lopping their heads and limbs off.
Oh my gosh!
Dear God. Wow.
Yeah. That's not a bar event we're going to do. We're going to have. Okay.
The killing of the younglings.
We do the killing of the younglings. That's a beer, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hate to bring up a sore subject because I don't know how much you guys like this one as compared to me, but Batman versus Superman. Starting off the forming of the Justice League by killing Superman, that was okay. I wasn't expecting them to do that, but
well, I mean, I'd read the comics in which Superman died, and this is.
I was working for a comic book store when those issues came out, and that was. I didn't actually read them at the time, but yeah. Yeah,
I was a big Superman fan as a young man, and I'd read those comics. And again, his death has always been so impermanent that you lose trust with the concept of his death, right? Like whenever you see Superman get killed, you're like, yeah, well, it won't take. He'll be fine. Yeah, he'll walk it off.
Yeah.
That's true of any major superhero, though. Like when Batman died at the end of Dark Knight Rises, it's like nobody thought he was really dead.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't take.
Yeah, I did find storyline for the as the jumping off point for Justice League, but I think there was something Zack Snyder had said about, in this day and age, it made more sense for the guy with no superpowers to be the one forming the league. So that kind of made sense for why they did
Nick
it.
Fury?
What?
Because he's Nick Fury, then?
No, Batman is definitely not Nick Fury. He doesn't swear quite as much as Nick Fury does. And he has both eyes.
I'm going to say something controversial.
Yes.
And that is simply Order 66.
Yes.
That's classified, Randall.
It is classified.
Did that tick anyone else off, or just me?
In a good way or a bad way?
Well, how lame were the rest of the Jedi?
Well, the whole point, though, is that they've been working alongside these troopers for 3 years, and they trusted them implicitly, so they never expected them to, suddenly shoot them in the back for no reason.
I know, lame.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another one where, like, if you've been watching the Clone Wars and they're starting to figure this out and they just run out of time.
And of course, the other thing is they were all in the middle of a battle, so it's not like, oh God, I sense danger. You're sensing danger anyway because you're in the middle of a fight right now.
Unless you're Yoda.
Yeah.
Or Obi-Wan.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, they kind of established in the last season of Clone Wars that Yoda kind of knew what was going to happen. Yoda had some sense of what was going to happen. He just didn't know what exactly was going to happen, so he was a little more prepared for.
But he didn't tell anyone else.
He couldn't.
I will tell you I will not.
but yeah, the death of all the Jedi, I just thought was handled in a really quite lame way. I mean, growing up with Star Wars, you have to remember Joel and I are a little bit older. Yes. And we were there as the episodes were unfolding. And we were led to believe by the overall arc of the movies that Darth Vader had hunted down and killed all the Jedi. Not that Darth Vader had, killed a bunch of baby Jedi in one day and then everyone else was shot down by clones in one fell swoop. So the
movies were very vague about that, though.
But the notion that we were going to have this potential series of Darth Vader tracking down Jedi and taking them out, that's the movie that ought to have been made.
Yeah. I will agree with you.
I never grew up having the assumption that he killed them all one by one himself. That thought never popped in my head.
Yeah, that didn't pop into my head either. That was kind of they were vague enough about it that it could have been Darth Vader who killed all the Jedi, or it could have been something else. All they really said was.
Sorry, go ahead.
All they really said was the Jedi were all but extinct by the time of New Hope.
Because how could one man kill 1,000 Jedi, no matter how powerful he is?
This is Darth Vader we're talking about.
He's more machine than man. Twisted and evil.
That's true.
So, I think we've talked about this before in previous episodes, but talking about a good death, I think the death of Roy Batty in Blade Runner was an amazing death.
Yeah.
Because not only the speech, the fact that he defined himself through existentialism. He made a decision to spare the Harrison Ford character, and he dies in the rain holding a dove. That's just everything about that. The imagery, the poetry of his language, the fact that he could not do anything about that. Death has arrived. The Grim Reaper's there. His time was up.
Yeah.
And and he actually showed mercy for a combat model replicant.
Yeah, very true.
He was the better man.
Yeah, a man. Well, with deaths and all that, with deaths and everything, funerals come next, right? I like funerals in the sense that you see the funerals, you see how people actually look and react on the deaths of these people. And yeah, the most obvious one, of course, is Spock in the Star Trek at Wrath of Khan with the
Yeah, we totally glossed over that one earlier.
Yeah,
completely intentionally.
Yeah, and it's one of the high notes towards the end of the film. But you guys also have Anakin Skywalker on the fire parade.
Funeral fire.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm one of these guys. It's something perverse about watching funeral, especially on film. Feeling all the things you're feeling, but knowing that the person who the funeral is for is actually fictional.
Yeah. Well, and there's Qui-Gon's funeral, too.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a staple of storytelling. And I think it speaks a lot to how we, in real life, look at death and, how do we deal with it?
Right.
Besides, drinking booze and everything and beer. Yeah. What do you guys think?
My favorite funeral in all of sci-fi that I can think of off the top of my head is probably the funeral for Geordi and Ensign Ro in the next phase in Star Trek Next Generation. When they think that Geordi and Ro are dead, when they've actually just been phased into a different state of being temporarily by a cloaking device. And they hold like this big party with like jazz music and everyone's whooping it up because they think that's how the people would want to be remembered.
Yeah, which is also ironic because they established very early on in Next Gen that people in the 21st century don't really know how to party. If you remember the first Naked Now, they when they go get onto the ship and they've discovered that the crew has been having some kind of wild party and everyone's looking around each other going, we have no idea how to handle this. They've been partying all this time.
That's very interesting.
It's not sci-fi, but the one I always think of is when Gandalf dies in Fellowship of the Ring, and they run out of Moria, and they're all kind of like crying on the steps, and then they go to Lorien, and the elves are singing a song, and they ask, "What is that?" It's a lament for Gandalf. I think I saw that movie like 10 times in theaters, and I cried every time Gandalf died, even though I knew that he wasn't really dead because I read the books.
Yeah.
Although, he technically did die and go back to Valinor, but then Iluvatar did grant him a second life to go back and finish his work. So he did die.
But he got better.
Yeah.
What about the death of the final death of Logan of Wolverine in the Logan movie?
Spoilers.
Yeah, I haven't seen. Don't worry. I know he died, but I haven't seen Logan yet.
Oh crap!
But I think it's so powerful because you have someone who was a superhero who's lost all his powers for the most part, and who's dying as a poor, bitter old man.
I love that movie. Yeah, for that reason.
Yeah, exactly, and it mirrors what usually happens in real life. That people grow old, they grow weak, and they see the life that they built often is falling apart. You have family members fighting over things and things that's completely out of control. It's the loss of control that really gets you. Yeah, death just shows up.
Yeah.
And I know it's a cheap little tactic, again, another spoiler alert, but I love at the end of the movie when there's a little cross built by his clone over his grave, and it then just slips and tilts down and turns into an X.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when she put it in the ground, I was like, oh man, you should have made that an X, wasted opportunity, but then it did become an X.
That was perfect. That movie it's one of the, for me, it's the perfect approach to death in the movies. I mean, we lose both Professor X and Logan in one film, and both deaths are impactful and moving and handled respectfully, and you don't think, oh, this is not going to take, they're going to come back. Like you think they're done, and it's beautifully done.
Well, I thought that Professor X was done when they killed him in Last Stand, but he got better from that too. So.
Yeah, but they resurrected.
Unless we choose to forget Last Stand. What?
Yeah, Logan is just like a side movie. It doesn't actually appear on the timeline. Yes,
I know.
Well, the timelines are so messed up in the X-Men movies.
True.
Like they're just completely bonkers. I saw a great video, I think it was on YouTube, of someone trying to make sense of all of the different timelines and how they all worked and changed as a result of Days of Future Past. And it was really well done, but it pointed out just how bizarre the timelines are in that particular continuum.
Well, it's a endemic of most comic books, I think, because they're constantly resetting things anyway.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't. So it's like I remember. I forget what series I was talking about, but we were talking about. But there was a message board asking if a certain character had died, and the response was, "Yes, he's dead. This is not Marvel Comics." So.
Nice. Well, that brings me to my one of my favorite repeated deaths, and that's got to be Kenny.
Oh, they killed Kenny.
You bastard!
Well, between that and, like I said, the many deaths of Daniel Jackson, starting in the original Stargate movie and going through pretty much all of the series. I think they've killed him like 8 times.
There was one episode in particular where he was being held captive by a ghoul and just killed over and over and over again, and just brought back in the sarcophagus over and over.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like this movie Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise, where they kept on killing Tom Cruise.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, I respect Tom Cruise as an actor, but man, that was just entertaining.
My favorite one is when he tries to roll under the truck and gets run over and flattened.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That hurts.
Oh, well. Okay, any closing thoughts before we wrap this up and put the closing sign up?
It's not a death scene, but the most gut-wrenching scene I always think of is in Prometheus, the Alien prequel, when Elizabeth Shaw has an alien impregnated in her belly, in her uterus, and she hops into the automated doctor unit to get it cut out of her, and she's strapped down in a sealed pod while these little robot apparatuses are moving above her, while the alien is about to burst out of her stomach. And then it manages to cut her open and take it out, but then the egg sac bursts open over her open wound, and she's still being held down. And she's like screaming, "Get it out of me! Get it out of me!" And she's like waiting for the thing to like finish its process and open up so she can get out. And the thing is like breaking loose and crawling on her. That was so horrible.
Yeah, and especially if you see the latest one, Alien Covenant, the one from this year, and you figure out what actually happened to her.
That one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I forgot about that. Yeah. I didn't like that.
The one death that I have to mention, because it keeps, it sort of haunted me when I first saw it, and that's the death of Tuvix in Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah.
The character who was created
that was so sad.
Yeah, when Tuvok and Neelix were merged by the transporter, and Captain Janeway essentially orders the death of this character in order to separate him back into his 2 original components. He's this valued crew member. He's a lovely guy. Everyone likes him and enjoys him. He's actually almost greater than the sum of his parts. And he doesn't want to go through the reverse experiment in order to restore Tuvok and Neelix, and he's ordered to do so. And in his last moments, forgives everyone for murdering him.
Yeah, that sucked.
Great episode, though. Really good writing.
Yes, really good.
And demonstrating the hardcore nature of Janeway, like in her struggle to get back to the Alpha Quadrant and her willingness to make hard choices.
Well, and pointless deaths would be the death of Trip in Enterprise.
Oh, that should not have happened.
That totally should not have happened.
There's Officer Murphy, RoboCop, in the original one, 1987, when this gang of bad guys basically use shotguns to blow off limbs. That gotta hurt.
Yeah,
it's gonna leave a mark. Yeah.
So.
Well, and the remake, when you see how much of him is left, when they take away the armor, that's just kind of horrifying.
Oh, and you mentioned this offline, Keri. Optimus Prime, the Transformers movie from 1986.
Yes.
What was all of that all about?
He got this. I haven't seen it in a long time, but in the original '86 movie, they took his spark out and they gave it to someone else because
wasn't he mortally wounded by Megatron?
Yeah, he's mortally wounded by Megatron. Megatron and Optimus basically kind of killed each other, and they took Optimus's spark and they gave it to someone else, and then they reformed what was left of Megatron into Galvatron, and that is actually one of the few cool things in Dark of the Moon, because Nimoy was the voice of Galvatron. So there's a neat juxtaposition of him turning out to be the bad guy in Dark of the Moon. For as weird as that movie was, that whole like symmetry of him being the bad guy again was really kind of cool. And then I distinctly heard them take a few of his more infamous lines as Spock and turn them on their heads too, and that was really cool.
So I never would have thought that in the Transformers movie there's more than meets the eye.
Yes, there
is. You've got the touch, Randall. You've got the power.
Nice.
Okay, folks. So this episode has been running somewhat long, which is okay. We're approaching an hour and a half, so let's wrap it up. Any last thoughts or statements or deaths out there? Let us know. What do you guys have to say?
I say goodbye.
Yes.
I say from hell's heart I stab at thee.
Keri?
Oh, shit.
That's a good line.
Yeah. For my little 2 cents worth is having a lot of Irish in me. I always look at an Irish wake, which really is a celebration. That fact that the reality of things that life can be sucky, but hopefully things are better on the other side.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe that is actually true. So that's our episode, our Halloween episode of the SciFi Pubcast. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at management@scifipubcast.space. You can like us on Facebook on our page. You can follow us on our Twitter account, which is @SciFi Pubcast. It's really original. And please, 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 please leave an iTunes review saying how much you like this podcast. Because that helps other people find our little show, and we like it. And if you do, let us know, and I'll send you some stickers. That's what I do. I go out and I buy stickers and I send it to people.
Random stickers, or
of anything actually. Our logo. Okay, that SciFi Pub. Just go to the restroom. They're up on the wall in there. Okay, right. So let's see. Keri, what's your Twitter address?
My Twitter handle is Keri Blackfire42. That's KERI Blackfire42.
And Derek?
@DerekJBB.
And Randall, what's yours?
@Randal_Graham.
And mine is @Joel_Welch, WLCH. And hopefully next time I won't be sick and I can actually breathe. But now I'm going to go have a glass of scotch and hopefully solve that issue.
Yeah, that hasn't been known to work, Joel. I've tried that with brandy once or twice when I was out of cold meds, and it just made the problem worse.
See, I'm not a quitter. Okay.
Okay.
You gotta repeat the experiment. It's the scientific method.
The traditional the traditional Scottish cure for the common cold is to go to bed with a bottle of scotch and a bowler hat, and you put the bowler hat at the end of the bed, and you drink the scotch until you see 2 bowler hats.
Okay.
I need to go out and buy a bowler hat then. Okay. All right. That's it, guys. Closing time. Please make it home safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, all.
Music provided courtesy of Logan Rathbone. Podcast logo by Drew M. Copyrighted Joe Welch. Listen responsibly, and we can't wait for your next visit to our fine establishment. Cheers.